was pretty good. There were, you know what, there were a lot of people out there this week that were like, the Niners are gonna rout, they're gonna win by 4 touchdowns, and it's like, dude, did you not see Green Bay go into Dallas and just work the Cowboys? I mean, the Green Bay's good, man. All those guys, Kraft, Musgrave, Jaden Reed, Dobbs, those guys can all play, man. Every one of those guys is going to be a good player in the NFL. Christian Watson, they got nothing. Gutekunst, their GM, is a stud, man. They've had 2 drafts back to back where they've drafted about 10 guys in each draft, and they're all hitting. And I'll say this, Love, I don't know what the heck Love was doing at the end there, but man, Jordan Love is going to be nice.
He's everything we wanted Trey Lance to be, basically.
He's going to be really good. And I'm, I wonder how this game would have gone different if Jair Alexander had been healthy. I don't know if you saw him in the second half, but he ran off the field and grabbed that ankle. He was in he played, but didn't practice all week. That's one of the best corners in the game. If he had been 100%, Niners probably lose this game.
Well, you got to factor in Debo didn't play basically too. So.
Yeah, that's true.
There's a few Niners I don't think we talked about enough that I thought had really good performances.
Go ahead.
Look like monster tonight.
Jawan Jennings, he had 5 catches for the game. 4 of them were first downs. It felt like all of those Jawan Jennings catches were just clutch. And then George Kittle, I thought he was awesome. He ran right by Darnell Savage for the touchdown. And the last guy I'll highlight is Nick Bosa. I thought he was the only guy on the D-line who showed up and at least pressured Jordan Love or shot the gap and stuffed Aaron Jones a couple times. So, Jawan, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, those are my big 3 standouts, and Dre Greenlaw.
Can I spread a little bit of hate here?
Yeah. Look at this. Look at the kid. The kid, he's in Cal Poly. He's got the red light going. He had a big date night the other night with his girl.
All right.
Oh, look at that. Now he's trying to spread some hate. All right, go ahead. Spread your wings. Spread your wings, producer.
I've been kind of disappointed in, and I saw a number of plays where he just didn't make the play today, is Chase Young. Chase Young has had a number of missed tackles that feel like they're such key tackles to be made. And I know he grades out well in PFF. And I know that he has a certain amount of pressures, but it's like, dude, when is he going to get home? I haven't seen a solo sack from Chase Young in a big moment like yet this season. I don't know.
I don't think Chase Young is getting that big deal with the Niners.
No,
I don't think he is.
Bazzi Mian says, Larry, quit hating on your kid just because he's better than you. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Bazzi Mian, if I knew how to block you, I would. All right. We were going around the room picking the games this weekend. Obviously, the Ravens looked like they were going to go down maybe to the Texans at halftime, but instead, Ravens came back and won big. Niners escape. So the number 1 seeds escape. Last year, the number 1 seeds both made it to the Super Bowl. Do you guys feel the same way? Do you still feel like the number 1 seeds are going to wind up in Vegas? Or based on what you've seen, would you like to pick one of the other teams?
Give me Kansas City still.
Really?
Okay. Oh, yeah. I just love Spags. Chris Jones is the most impactful defensive player in the playoffs every year.
He is a monster.
That's the one team I feel like Niners get there. That's the best matchup for them. I don't like
for the Niners.
What's that?
For the
49ers?
That's
the best matchup is KC?
For the Niners. I think the worst. I think Baltimore and if Buffalo gets there, look out.
Yeah, because Buffalo will have won 8 in a row if they get there.
Buffalo's defense is they're just so banged up.
What do you guys think, Baller, Damon? What do you guys think? Who would you right now? You going with the chalk Niners Ravens based on what you've seen, or would you go with somebody else?
Well, look, based on what I've seen, the Ravens might look the part, but the Niners don't. Like the Niners need to go out and reprove themselves with a win in the NFC title game. I don't care who it's against, but I also honestly don't care if the Niners figure out a way to win the NFC title game by a half a point and then the Super Bowl by a quarter of a point. Like, it's just about win time. I don't care about style points anymore, and no one should. It doesn't matter what anyone's opinion was. It doesn't matter that they didn't do well in the quiz portion of the beauty pageant or the swimsuit portion. All that matters is wearing the crown at the end by any means necessary. I don't I don't even know. I mean, like, I think you can throw the seeds out at this point. Like, really, I do. I think if you're still alive, you can absolutely win the Super Bowl. Maybe I feel a little less about that. Should it be Tampa representing the NFC? I mean, I think if you're in the AFC, you're saying, let Tampa get there. The same way that if you were in the NFC, you were saying, hey, let the Texans shock the world. Let them get there. But that didn't happen.
If we're standing in a casino right now in the lobby of a sports book, and I give you guys each $100 and you can bet it on, two teams, one AFC team, one NFC team for the Super Bowl, who are you putting your money on?
Chalk.
Niners Chiefs.
Niners Chiefs?
Yeah, you're getting some good juicy. I mean, they're +3 right now. I think you got to snatch that up right now. And then they're going to be underdogs versus Baltimore. So I think that's nice.
I'm with Rye. I think I'd go Niners Chiefs. Kev?
I'm gonna go Niners Bills.
Or Baller?
I'm going Bills.
Niners Bills?
Yeah, I think whoever wins this game tomorrow between the Chiefs and Bills is going to go on and take out the Ravens. Those are my picks.
I think Mark Andrews is going to be back next week too.
I thought he wasn't back today. He didn't come back today.
No.
I thought the Ravens' cheeks looked pretty tight in that first half. They probably should have been down more.
I'd feel better about Chiefs if the Chiefs could score some freaking points.
Yeah,
not really the same team.
I think we just have to change how we view them. Like, they're a defensive team that runs the hell out of the ball with Pacheco, and Mahomes is going to be able to make enough plays.
Kev, Damon, who are you going with?
Game manager Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah. Look, it's tough to not say Niners Chiefs. I think it could be Niners Ravens though. I mean, the Ravens did look like they had everything that it takes to be a nasty football team that goes to the Super Bowl. And they, at home, boy, did they make a statement. I really thought that
they're good.
We might see the game in Santa Clara mirror the game that we saw in Baltimore today, where you had a slow start for the home favorite and then an overwhelming statement in the second half. And I thought that the Niners might still have an overwhelming statement in the second half. And then Kyle Shanahan is just on his too cute horse trying to run a play that is designed for Debo, asking Juwan Jennings to get a carry. And I didn't understand that. I mean, I really thought that Shanahan stunk tonight. And Purdy, I don't know if you guys said
I kind of agree. I was very disappointed in Shanahan tonight.
Yeah, I was there. Not a lot of things that I thought needed to happen happened. That's why I say the Niners, they got away with murder, and good on them for getting away with murder. I'm not the one who's investigating the crime scene. They got away with murder. That's great. And nothing that happened tonight will matter next weekend. Nothing. Literally nothing. They're a good team that had a bad game, and they're lucky that they were still able to win that game because the other team played pretty well. What's kind of amazing, though, is you look at some of the stats in this game, the Niners still they out-offensed the Packers. Doesn't feel like they did.
I know, it's crazy box score. I'm looking at that too. I was like, is this right? Is this possible that it's correct? Yeah. Kev,
how much of Kyle's looking bad tonight I still think it had a lot to do with Debo going down. He had, in the first drive,
that's all it takes?
2 catches, 24 yards. I think he was a big part of I think he was going to get 8 to 10 receptions tonight.
That's another element of the Kyle's bad night that I didn't like. It's like you got all these weapons, you got all this talent, and one guy goes down and you don't know what to do now? Like,
it's a house of cards.
Yeah, Brandon, where was Brandon Ayuk?
For 3 quarters
Ayuk was a no-show until the fourth.
Receiver all year.
Yeah. And how much of that's on Kyle? How much of that's on Ayuk himself? When Purdy was asked about where the hell was Ayuk, he's like, we don't, it's not like that where, we're going to have a certain amount of touches for Ayuk. Really? I mean, most teams you would think they do kind of figure out, well, we'd like to get our, playmakers the ball a certain number of times. The way he answered that, it was very bizarre. It was like, so you just kind of randomly call plays and just see who's open. I mean, there's got to be a handful of plays where Ayuk's got to be your number one guy. I mean, the guy was an all-pro wide receiver, for crying out loud. He's an all-pro. How do you not scheme up touches for all-pro receivers? Kev, who would you take?
And especially when another player so critical to your offense goes down so early in the game. You just figured that would open up more of an avenue to hunt Ayuk. crazy. I mean, if you would have told me that on the biggest drive of the year, Chris Conley is going to be making the biggest play of the year, I did not have that on my.
I mean, how many significant passing plays were there in this game? It
how
just was
about the Ayuk catch? The diving catch.
That was dope.
Getting
the one that the low pass. That was
Kev, who would you take, Kev? Who if I give you $100, you're in a casino, you can take anybody. Who are you taking?
In the AFC, I'll take Niners in the NFC. AFC, I'll roll with the Bills. They're getting hot just at the right time. I think they're going to win this game against the Chiefs. Then I think they'll probably be like 1-point dogs against the Ravens. I really think it's going to be a close spread if the Bills win because they're going to be hot. And I like Josh Allen in these moments. I think it's this year, but I don't know. Just by a hair.
I hope he beats Mahomes.
We're gonna go speed round on the supers because I mean it's funny. I've never had quite this many people all in the chat at one time. You get close to 3,000 people in the room, the supers start to pile up. So here we go, rapid fire. James Foster, who in the chat hated the Jennings rush attempt the most? There we go.
I mean, how do you make a mistake like that?
That had to be a mistake. Kaz said, we didn't win that game. We escaped it.
It's a good way to say it.
Jordan Matthews, can the real Nick Bosa please stand up? No PR. No PR.
No pass rush.
No pass rush. Yeah. I mean, the pass rush, I mean,
here's the thing. Pressures need to turn into sacks in the postseason. Jordan Love was not sacked tonight. If you would have told me the Niners win when everything goes wrong and they don't sack Jordan Love, I was like, how did they do that?
I know. Isn't it amazing too that a guy over 10 games didn't turn the ball over one time in 10 games and turned it over twice tonight? I mean, it just kind of shows the bounce of the ball. DeBig 25. Why does Shanahan keep putting Ambry Thomas on the field? He's been trash for years. First half clock management was awful before the half.
Ambry Thomas is pretty good, but he had a bad night.
Yeah, I mean it's probably not Kyle putting him out there. It's Wilkes putting him out there.
And Spencer also the time to experiment.
Yeah, I mean he's the best you got. I mean, let's be honest. Ambry's been good this year at times. But here's the thing, and I said it 10 times if I said it once this week, and I've been on with almost all you guys, so you guys have all probably heard this before. But the 5 Niner DBs that are young have to play ball if they're going to win the Super Bowl. And that, when I say play ball, they got to play with some poise with the ball in the air. And they didn't today, and they somehow got to the next round. So it's amazing that they escaped. Spencer Alsey, that throw to Jennings from Purdy was nuts. Oh, my God, the one with like 4 guys in the middle of the field. I mean, that was another ball that easily could have been picked. I mean, Purdy, I love Purdy.
That much over the linebacker's fingertips?
Purdy was bad. Purdy was bad tonight.
Look at it this way. The Amy Trask almost had a great night tonight.
Yeah, almost. I was thinking about her, too.
Stock's going up.
Irrational says the sensationalism of Brock Purdy and Joe Montana narrative is ridiculous. We should compare Brock with Alex Smith and Jeff Garcia. Let's drop down a gear. Well, I don't think anybody's really saying he's Joe Montana, but he does.
That won't quite get the clicks. Why Brock Purdy is just like Alex Smith.
Well, I'll say this. Guys who played with Montana, like Brent Jones, have compared him to Montana. And who the hell are we to tell Brent that he's wrong, right? I understand what Brent sees. He sees a very competitive, smart guy who doesn't have the biggest arm. He's a little bit of an underrated athlete, an underrated mover. I understand the comparison. It's an awful lot to put on the kid.
Remember, we only remember all of Joe's perfect moments. No one remembers the 3 interceptions before the catch. No
right.
one.
The Niners, I believe
I brought it up tonight.
I think the Niners had 6 turnovers in that game.
Yeah,
look it up. I mean, Danny, look up the 81 NFC title game. I think they had 6 turnovers.
I have it.
Gizmo Maltese says, I feel like the Ravens get better defensive play with lesser talent. It's not a championship defense, in my opinion. We need luck to win it all. Hey, if you need luck to win it all, you had some tonight. Bruce R says, run the ball. Early weather report is sunny next Sunday. Had flashbacks of Packers beating Niners back in the day. Packers are coming, like Larry said. Yeah, there's no question. The Packers are going to be good in the next 5 years.
6 turnovers, Larry. 6.
Yeah, 6 turnovers in the NFC Championship game in 1981.
6-3, and they won.
How many Niner fans would get that if you threw that out as a poll, as a question? I'll give you $1,000. And you tell me how many turnovers the Niners had in the 81 NFC Championship game.
I bet you most people would think it was a trick question and be like, none.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's totally.
Yeah.
Sam's POV says, I think as fans, we have to be realistic. It's alarming that Purdy struggled against a 7th seed young team. The Ravens said the Niners aren't that good and all the wins aren't the same.
It's
I'm
not
nervous.
the NCAA tournament. Forget about the seeds. It's not like you're playing Niagara. You know, I mean,
right. This is not Sam Houston State or something. Mr. 33 degrees. Thank God for Greenlaw. 2 picks and Purdy in that last drive. The only reasons we won. Yeah. Those guys' lockers are right next to each other as well. I asked Greenlaw about Purdy, and he's, he really believes in the guy. 2 really, really good players, but man, by the way, Greenlaw's like, yeah, I have Achilles pain, but there's nothing you could do to keep me off that field. I mean, he's all baller for sure. Strawberry reacts as all season. We needed to see a gritty win and game-winning drive from Brock Purdy. This only happens if they don't execute on offense. We needed to see this win. Nick Bosa said the same thing, guys. He said we needed to win this way, and I think Fred Warner said the same thing. And I kind of agree. The other question I wanted to ask you guys, I wrote it down. Does today's win and the way the Niners did it make you feel like they have a better chance to win the Super Bowl or a worse chance to win the Super Bowl based on what you saw today? And I would say better, because this was the game they were supposed to lose, and they're probably going to bounce back with a better performance. I think they escaped today, and when you escape, what are the odds they're going to play like this next week? They're going to play better, right? They're bound to play better.
And they have to have a little bit of that second lease on life sort of, we're still here feeling. And hey, look, every single guy in that locker room knows they got away with one tonight. They know that. And there's no reason to pretend that they didn't. Somebody's saying there's no such thing as luck. What the hell are you talking about? Luck is the reason why this team is still alive. They made their own luck along the way too, but this was a lucky night, and you take all the luck the football gods will give you on the way to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, you got almost 3,000 people in the room. You keep telling me there's no such thing as luck? Ramon Gonzalez says, I'm Kyle's biggest fan, but running the clock down at half almost cost us this game. He also needed to run CMC up the middle 25 times against the 28th ranked run D. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it wasn't. I
guess I'm the only one that differs on that.
No, I agree with you, Dan. I think Shanahan's a complete control freak, and it's part of what makes me feel good about this win. I think it's good for the boys to just have this in the back of their mind, because he's a control freak. That's why he loves that. They call it whatever, controlling the middle 8, where you score, control the time, and then you get it. I can't remember personally like a Shanahan big win or playoff win where they didn't have control of the game for the majority of the game, or even at any point. Like tonight, it never felt like they had control. There was a couple points where, they scored, they went up, and if they got a stop, you know what? They could start to kind of take control of the game, but they never had control of the game, literally until Dre Greenlaw caught that interception at the end.
Totally
I just think sometimes game situations dictate what you do. And with the weather being the way it was, 4 minutes to go, you're up 7-6. If you go 3 and out, or you get 1 first down and you're throwing the ball, the clock stopping, give the ball back to Green Bay. Green Bay goes down and scores. All of a sudden you're down, they go for 2 and you're down 14-6 at half.
Yeah, but I mean, look at this, Danny. They wasted 45 seconds.
Yeah, but Green Bay never
ran out of time and asked their kicker, who was kind of sketchy with his confidence, to kick a long field goal in the rain. You cannot convince me that with 4:09 when that drive started, Shanahan said, in an ideal world, we're going to get our questionable kicker.
They were trying to score a TD. They just didn't execute.
They were not trying to score a TD.
Yes, they were.
They were not.
They would have taken it if they had a minute 30, 3 touchdowns at half.
Running the ball with
but they didn't want to give the ball back to Green Bay.
But you can't serve multiple masters in that situation. You have to have clear thinking. I just kind of felt like I think they overthought it.
But Larry, they knew if they didn't score there that they had this insane play to Juwan Jennings to start the half, and that they would go up 8.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing too. If your defense is so badass, then what are you worried about?
What's the point of having all this weapon and finally a quarterback that you can trust if you don't trust him? And
But he was
and
so off tonight.
that you
He
can't
was-
trust with 70 yards to defend. I mean, it didn't make an awful lot of sense. And what Kyle did was shrunk down his opportunities to take stabs and the breadth and depth of his own playbook, because now he's up there clocking shit and he's throwing away timeouts. And he got it wrong. I mean, I'm just straight up. Kyle
They got no points.
good.
They got no points.
Yeah.
And they needed points. And who knows? We didn't know what was going to happen in the second half. For all we knew, Green Bay was going to come alive offensively. They scored almost 50 last week. What if they got run over by a Green Bay team that scored a bunch of points and they would have needed those points? Heck, I was thinking in several moments in the fourth quarter, heck, man, they really blew that end of the first half thing. And we're going to be talking about that if they wind up coming up short.
By the way,
Reed Archer says, you guys are such prisoners of the moment. How many interceptions did Montana have in the catch game? 3, but yeah, shit on Purdy. Okay, I hear you. Black Pill Phil, Brock, CMC, and Greenlaw bailed out Kyle in the fourth. The preparations and the in-game decisions were poor and should have cost us the game. Yeah, no question. Mr. 3 Degrees, I truly believe Shanahan needs to run wet ball drills with Brock to get him accustomed to a slick ball, please. I know he's been asked that in the past. He's like, no. And be like, hey, Kyle, do you practice with a wet ball? No.
well, I don't know.
You might want to.
What I didn't like was the whole I'm wearing a glove. No, I'm not wearing a glove. No, I'm not wearing a glove. Like, you need to know that before the game starts.
How about
Right.
dropping back the
Not
pass
a glove guy.
during the play and drying his hand on his trying
know.
to grab
I mean,
his towel?
I'd
I
say go to
never-
an
I've never
adult
even
store and
seen
pick
that
up some
before.
lubrication. Just slather those boys.
I've
Bring
never
back
seen
Lester
anybody do
Hayes,
that before.
stick him.
Titus Moeller says, did Montana play well in the 81 NFC title game? He did at the end. Found that guy Clark. Mr. 33 Degrees, got to give it to Purdy. His scramble in the fourth was a great play. Reminded me a little bit of John Elway there. That was like, I'm not going to get denied. I felt good about that. I mean, let's be honest too. Brock was bad tonight, but man, he blocked it out on that final drive, and he was damn good. And you know what? That's what it takes. I mean, everybody kept saying, when is this guy going to do this? When is he going to lead a comeback? When is he going to put the team on his back? On the final drive, he went 6 for 7. He completed 86% of his passes for 48 yards. He had that nice run. He got it done.
Hey,
I mean,
the
come
other
on.
thing,
You're
Larry,
going to complain when he does it. You gotta give it to him when he does, right?
The other thing, Larry, about we saw Brock play a really bad game in Cleveland. It was wet, it was raining, but he did the same thing.
He did the same
Final
thing in Cleveland.
drive, he got him in position to win the game.
Yeah, and a lot of it's like, and I asked him about it in the post game, and he's like, yeah, you got to block out the negative thoughts, and it's hard. I mean, it's easy to say, it's hard to do. Scotty B says, Krug, relax. Brock let a comeback. He was clutch today when it counted. So was the head coach. Okay, I was Damon. You missed it. I was kind of crapping on Brock early.
Well, look, there was reason to. It was his worst, one of his worst games of the year. How about this? He hasn't played worse in a victory. That's for sure.
Facts.
And you know what? I've been doing this for a long time. Damon's been doing this for a long time. You guys have been doing this for a number of years now. If you're going to be credible, then you have to say, somebody's good when they're good, and you got to say somebody's bad when they're bad. And it can't be, you can't have sacred cows, and you can't be carrying anybody's water. And, you don't have to, it's not like I enjoy saying that Brock was bad. It's not like a vendetta, but I'm not going to sit there. I don't care. I'm not as his, best buddy or roommate or brother or relative. I mean, come on. But I'm a fan of his, and I'm going to tell you when he's good, and I'm going to tell you when he's bad.
And here's the thing, the same people who are probably criticizing you, Larry, for saying, oh, no, he's good, he's bad, blah, 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 are the same people who are trying to dismiss you for saying, this is a pretty good Packers team, and you better be on a red alert. I mean, that's what you and I talked about that all week. And we had you guys just stop it. You're overselling the Packers. Why are you so afraid? Maybe it's because we might know just a little something more than the average cat trying to do this. That's what happens when you're around the league for 20 years.
You would think after picking Green Bay to beat Dallas that people would have given me a little bit of a wide berth when I said, hey, you know what? This game is going to be really tough, and I'm scared shitless of this Green Bay team because they're coming. Because guess what? You're all driving home right now going, you know what? They are coming. And all those good receivers they got and that quarterback, those guys are good. So just, next time you go, hey, you're high, you're stupid, you're this, you're that, just remember, I spent a lot of time researching this shit. I mean, I don't know everything, but I think I know something about something. The Recovery 716 says, I remember when Montana had bad games, but he would still win. It's only Purdy's second year. They wanted to see Purdy win after being down. They got that. Yeah, no question.
By the way, hello, John Dickinson.
JD's in the house. What's up, JD?
What's going on, fellas? This is a 7-man box.
It's a
It's
seven-man
like the
box.
Fox halftime show where, 3 guys get to talk for 20 seconds and then they cut to commercial break.
Yeah, this is,
Great
I
format.
mean,
I'll shorten it up.
Michael Irvin. Who do you think is going to win, Michael Irvin?
That
no,
show
but
is so bad, by the way. I watched
so
it.
Give me
bad.
Detroit
So
and
bad.
Buffalo. Back to you.
this is the first 7 box I've ever had, and it's exciting because there's a lot of talented people in this box.
You wouldn't
I'm
want
just
to
trying
run
to-
against. You wouldn't want to run against this show right now. They got 7 men in the box.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Yeah, seriously. This this is like
There's
the
a
86
Pedro
Bears.
Guerrero
This is the
story
85
about
Bears
that.
right here. There's Hampton, there's McMichael, there's the Fridge, there's Wilbur Marshall,
whole
I'm Mama's
defensive
Boy
front
Otis,
right
there's
now.
Mike Singletary. Flav's in the house. Says Kev, spot on. Now who knows? That was hours ago. Who knows what you said?
Probably a terrible take. Yeah.
If you blow a 10-point lead and or play call like a scared little biatch and your team plays the same way, it's on you. Call to win instead of afraid to lose for once, and I won't criticize him. Appreciate you. Mr. 33 Degrees, I've been with ugly women, and it was still fun. We had an ugly game and still won. Let's go, boys. I'm very proud of that
That's the one.
statement.
That's the point. Yep.
I think that might have been one of my Sac State fraternity brothers right there. James Foster says, huge play from Brock on the long CMC touchdown run. Play clock ran down, but Brock directed traffic and got the play off. Low key, great play. No, I agree. That was an outstanding play. Jamie Allen says you can't have as much talent as the 49ers and Kyle and Purdy not match and not catch the blame if we lose. When Kyle isn't in a rhythm, he struggles to adjust and to manage. Couple more here. Flav says, I don't think Kyle Shanahan has play called to win games since the Atlanta Super Bowl. His butthole puckers up, an entire team plays scared to make a mistake because of it. Just remember when you're writing these super chats and I'm reading these in a press box. Digital Drew, member for 11 months. Thank you, Digital Drew. He says not only did that last drive with the game win the game, it saved Purdy's legacy. Near impossible to come back from playing that bad in a playoff game. Woo. Yeah, as Damon said, Amy Trask was taking victory laps and she was about to open that bottle of champagne, and then Brock said, wait. I got one more drive here. I'm old Greg says, Damon, you're not scared. Chug a beer with me. Damon, did you do shots on your show tonight?
I'll do a shot on your show tonight. What do you think of that?
Look at this. Wait a second. You can do a shot? Look at this. What are you shooting?
No cup.
There's not even a shot glass. You're just like
Doing
I'm
bottle
watching
hold. This is my bottle. I can drink
you're like
right out of
Uncle
my bottle
Jesse
all I
from the
want.
Dukes of Hazzard over there.
There you go, Boss Hog.
Boss hog. And I'm old Greg wants to chug a beer with you. Flav says also the lack of tempo and urgency when down is effing annoying. Had 5 opportunities to push the tempo today. They were the rested team. He's 1-30 when down in the 4th, but act like they're always up 20.
Here's the thing, Flav. You're right.
That's a great
1-0
point.
tonight. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, but I will say this. I would like to see some up tempo. And I asked Shanahan about it about 5-6 weeks ago at one of the pressers. I'm like, you ever think about going up tempo? And he's like, we did it a lot when we first got here. And then it's like, well, why not now? It doesn't seem like if you have a guy like Brock who processes really well, and you got 5 eligibles like Shanahan does, and you can dial up a dizzying array of formation variation and all kinds of play design, and why wouldn't you play fast and see if people can keep up with you? Why not? Even if it was just for 2 or 3 minutes in the middle of a regular season game, just to get your team able to do it when you need to do it at the end of the game. I mean, they won a bunch of games by huge points this year. Why not take 5 minutes against these games against the Cardinals and go up tempo and see what it looks like, see what it feels like, critique it, coach it. I don't know. I mean, that's I'm old Greg says, read it for Damon, Larry. Okay, there you go. I'm not really sure, but I just read that. Isaac Perez says Kyle with the Jennings sweep run. What the fuck was that? Yeah, I think Kyle almost seemed surprised by that in the post game when he talked about it. Did you guys see his comments in the post game? He's like, yeah, we ran one to Jennings. So I got the feeling that like maybe Jennings, because of the injury to Debo, got thrown into a certain thing where he was the certain receiver and it was probably designed for Debo and Jennings is just there,
Yeah.
right?
Like everybody was surprised by, like it shouldn't have happened. Like almost the play got called and you didn't realize the personnel grouping on the field, and the personnel grouping on the field meant that, well, this one's going to Jennings, and almost as if the guys in the huddle are like, are we really doing this? I guess we're really doing this. They're like, let's
Kittle
go
was like,
run it.
"Look," he's like, look at that. We're running Jennings. I'm old Greg says, Kevin, tell Damon to chug a beer with me.
We just did that. I just did a shot. I'm not doing another one.
I think Kev jumped out. Tony Nagatani, for the love of all things, holy, trade Ambry Thomas back to Adam Peters in DC. I'm old Greg says, Kevin's
back.
Kevin's back. There he is. Shane Pennington, Kruger has been saying Greenlaw was a big key to this playoff run, and he got it done for us. Go Niners. Yeah, Greenlaw's big time. Patrick Hart drops in $1.99 just for the hell of it. Thank you. Travis Peliquin says, doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. Jeff Taylor drops this one. Someone inform the chat the 49ers won. Yeah, there was a lot of bitching early for sure. Crazy. It's more fun to bitch. Crazy Boo Boo Chicken. Yo, bang bang. Most electric atmosphere I've ever been to. Do you think we get rid of Moody? Because for a while I thought the miss killed us. If Moody had missed that second kick, he probably would have been gone. I mean, I don't know. Sean Ferris is 0 for 30 from behind. Injuries, the crisis moment. They were our curses. We just witnessed an exorcism. Hurts to go through, but we are better for it. In some ways, he's kind of right. Matthew Rowley says, sorry, starting late, but your Purdy takes missed the point. Brock did it when it mattered, just like Joe. Everyone forget that the drive came at the end of a horrible Montana game. I have nothing but faith in this kid now. I mean, I hope that's what people take away from this, but as I think there has to be a little bit more of an open, honest debate about how he can get better with a wet football, because he was bad with a wet football. James WF says $1.99. Thank you. Tony Nagatani, did Kyle say in the post-game presser that the run was to JJ was a mistaken wristband number call? If that's true, get it together, Kyle. As I said, I think it was probably just in there for Debo, and that's what happened. Matthew Rowley says no one's talking about this tonight for good reason, but we watched the start of history tonight, both for Brock and the Niners versus the Packers. Going to be a fun, intense next 10 years. Yeah, if I said to you guys, this is actually kind of brings up an interesting one. If I said to you guys, forget just in the playoffs, who's in the playoffs now. Take a look at the landscape of the NFC and everything you guys know about it. Who do you think, if you had to say give me two teams that you think watch the heck out for these teams in the next 5 to 6 years? Is it as simple as
sleepers?
Well, no, I'm just saying who's going to be at the top of the conference. Like if you asked me in training camp, and I talked to JD about this many times this summer, that I thought that it was a Niners, Eagles, Niners, like the future in the NFC was Eagles, Niners, Eagles. But man, 1 year and suddenly Eagles look old and Sirianni look bad and their Eagles don't look the same. And now I don't think I would say that. To me, I would probably say watch out. To me, it's Niners, Detroit,
Green Bay Packers.
If Ben Johnson leaves, though, I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm on record saying
maybe
Packers,
Rams, if the Rams get their D going.
Look out for the Bill Belichick Falcons.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a surprise. Damon
Not
will
the
like
Cowboys.
this. I think the Bears are on the way up.
No, they'll fuck that up.
I think they're a couple years away, but
they should have fired the
Damon
coach.
knows,
though.
guys. Damon knows.
I think they're a couple years away, but I think they're in the right direction.
Got to get Booberflus out of there.
James
do.
WF
They do.
says Moody 52-yarder was the difference.
Yes, it
He
was.
did bounce back. He was resilient. Holland Tracy, I think we need to roll with Beal. Young sucked. I wouldn't mind seeing Beal. Robert Beal's got a lot of talent. Titus Moeller, does Kyle really not have contingency game plans? Baller, I think you're muted.
Baller,
Baller.
your mic's not on.
My bad. I got frustrated seeing our defensive ends being wiped out by wide receivers all game. Like the Niners D ends, it happened to Bosa once, Chase Young a couple times. It's like, man, pop these wide receivers, man. They couldn't set the edge. That's why Aaron Jones was crushing us tonight.
Look at it this way. LaFleur has been able to sell his wide receivers on the concept of downfield blocking in a way that not even Mike McDaniel has been able to sell the Miami Dolphins. LaFleur really might be the best branch off the Shanahan coaching tree because that team's bought into every ounce of everything he sells them.
Kyle says that LaFleur's a really good quarterback coach too, that he's great at coaching technique and footwork and all the kinds of things that go into good quarterback play. And I think you can see it. I mean, look at the improvement of Jordan Love. Yeah. Rocky Van Wagner, Purdy clutched up and won. All that matters today. Yeah. Right. I mean, there's no question. I mean, if we're a bottom line deal, I mean, here's the thing. There's so many people. Purdy played great at against Minnesota, but he threw interceptions late and people crushed him. Purdy played, bad against Cleveland, but he came through late but Moody missed the kick. Purdy played terrible tonight. Maybe the worst game I've ever seen him play, but he did it in the moment that mattered. And it's like, what do you want? I mean,
this is like, the learning curve. This is,
I know you're totally right.
The man who's escaped the learning curve essentially for the first 2 seasons of his career is going through it a little bit right now. But this is, you want to talk about teams to bet on in the future? The Niners are one of them. What if Purdy continues to get better and better and better? And I do believe he's going to do that. This team can be very special for a long time.
Bazzi Mian, Niners tied for the most postseason wins at 37 with this one tonight, tied with Green Bay and New England.
But the fact that Purdy is younger than Jordan Love, isn't that kind of weird to think about?
I know. Into Quiet Us. This was the Browns game, but they won. Good for Moody. I'm Old Greg says Shanny play calls were trash. We all know it. Yeah, it wasn't a great night for Kyle, for sure. Mesru 01. Hey Kev, how'd the date go?
Good.
Look at Kev.
Still dating.
There you go.
Kev's going to keep the dating part quiet. Words of wisdom. The wife and I are planning to go to Las Vegas. Who among you will me and Chade from Chat Sports for a drinky drink? Let's go Niners. We'll see. We'll see.
There. We'll see there.
I know Damon's going.
If the Niners go, we'll see you in Las Vegas. We'll make bad choices together.
I'm trying to make my way there. I'm trying. JD, are you planning on going?
I'm in. Yeah, if the Niners are going, I'm in for sure. So yeah, I'll come have a cocktail with any and everybody that wants to do it. We should do it.
A lot of time on the road.
Pick an event one night and we'll do it. Pick a spot, and I'm all over it with you guys.
Are you sure? What if we say circus?
Hey, if y'all are going to be there, I'll give you 30 minutes.
Seriously, we could catch a disease from just walking across the carpet.
I'll give you 30 minutes and have a shot off of Damon's bottle and then go on with my night.
I'd love to see John walk into Circus and be like, all right, you guys, you boys got a half an hour. That's it.
30 minutes. One shot. Leave the bottle. Line them up.
Yeah, I think there's a mold convention staying at Circus. AJ Lamb 88 says any Niners fan was nervous in the fourth, good or bad. We knew it was not a game we usually win, but the fact we pulled it out, who cares? We get to eat pig in a pickle and Greyhound with a smile.
I think Niners fans were nervous right at that coin toss.
I was nervous, man. I really was nervous. Tony Nagatani, Drake Greenlaw stopped Seattle on the third and one. On the 1 yard line in 2020 to go to the Super Bowl. Dre Greenlaw got 2 picks and won the game today. Will Dre Greenlaw go to Canton? I'll say this. Dre Greenlaw deserves to be a Pro Bowler. I mean, it's absurd that he's not. The guy's a bad A. He's a great guy, too. I love talking to the guy.
That was insane. If you think back to, I mean, the guy just makes big plays in big games. I mean, he
And
was
right.
a
You've been
nobody.
in that locker room with me,
Oh.
man. You know he's a great dude.
Great dude.
Great dude. Jim Molay, I'm spent, boys. Have a great night. Now that my blood pressure is back to normal, it's time for bed. Fun week of sports talk coming up. Go Niners, go Krueg show. Molay out. It's my good Sac State buddy, Jim Molay. Frank, Tom, Ocean, great show. Studs and Larry. LOL, joking. Much love. Okay. Frank, you can't reuse that. You used that the other night. You got to come up with new material. I know all about that. OB1. I think Kyle Shanahan and Dre's situational football could benefit from meditation. Why doesn't Kyle Shanahan start Brock Purdy with easy passes to calm him in big games, rollout, etc.? That was the other thing I couldn't believe. Brock looked like his footwork was so bad. It seemed like it was screaming for a rollout, and he just didn't roll him out. How many times did Brock in this game drop back to pass, get to his spot at the top of the drop, and then see the pocket squeezing around him, and his feet were like in cement? I thought that was the most – when I go watch that game, I think that's the thing that's going to stand out, is that normally his footwork to escape, he'll get out of there. In this game, it looked like he got to the top of his drop and he seemed frozen.
You know, Larry, two of his biggest plays tonight when he moved out of the pocket was the touchdown to Kittle and the run at the end of the game to the 6-yard line.
Yeah. Oh, I love the run. I absolutely love the run. Matthew Rally, everyone thought it was going to be Eagles-Niners for a while, but the 49ers-Packers is the new 49ers-Cowboys. That's interesting. I kind of see that. Mr. High Life says, with all of our weapons on offense, it seems like we put too much on Debo. No reason to fall apart and scrape out with a win like tonight. Still love them. Yeah. I'm old Greg. I bleed Niners, but this is it. It's this year or what?
Or not good.
Never. I'll say this. This is probably, when you look at how fast things go by and how things end in the NFL, Kittle's getting up there. Trent Williams is getting up there. All these young talented teams are starting to sprout up. This might be, the Niners' last best chance with this group. I mean, I know Kyle's relatively young. Purdy's relatively young. If you keep drafting well, but eventually you're going to have to pay Purdy big money. I mean, the Niners aren't going to have, they've got to seize this opportunity and go to Vegas and finish the deal. I think that's the message. Matthew Rally, stop paying so much for D-line. They disappeared tonight, just like most playoff games. Was Bosa even out there? Oh, yeah, he was chasing Jones a lot. I kind of agree there, too. I mean, the Niners have spent so much money on their D-line. I don't know that they're getting the bang for the buck.
It's kind of like the offensive line. Like when the Niners are trailing, the defense is just not the same. But when they're up and they can tee off, it's a completely different, they look awesome.
George Cribbs says, Hargrave play tonight? Didn't even hear his name called. I didn't either. And I was predicting all week. I was dead wrong. I was saying Hargrave was going to be a factor. I didn't see him be a factor.
I did not have Sebastian Joseph Day getting first quarter snaps.
That's another one that was shocking.
I saw
I'm like,
69
who's 69
out there. Yeah.
That was crazy. Young Cobra A14, or Young Cobra 14 says,
Hargrave
what an epic game from Greenlaw.
I'm sorry. Hargrave was without a statistic tonight.
Yeah. Dude, you're paying that guy a shit ton. Yeah, I really, and I'll say when I'm right. I got to say when I was wrong. I really thought he was going to be a factor this week, and he was not. What an epic game from Greenlaw. Young Cobra, yep. Words of Wisdom says, Circa Legacy Club, I got your drink, gentlemen.
He knows Circa. Look at it.
Is that a spot in Vegas?
Oh, so Circa's the place with Stadium Swim. It's one of the greatest sports books you'll ever walk into in your life.
Well, explain. What do you mean?
Instead of being a casino that has a sports book in it, Circa basically is a sports book that they built a casino around, and they also have Stadium Swim, which is all the pools in front of the huge board, and you just get to watch everything. It's very, very nice. Let me tell you, John Goulet, formerly of 95.7 The Game, is now the program director of VEASAN, which is it runs right out of the Circa sports book. So we will get some red carpet treatment should we go.
Is it an outside pool though? It's too cold, right?
It is an outside pool. It depends, and there's usually so many hookers there. They'll warm you up.
Yeah, you might need some gloves, Larry.
Kev will explain what hookers
Brock
are
Purdy.
later. Rocky Van Wagner says game went perfect for Green Bay. We'll kill them with Debo. Hopefully Debo returns. Micah Cervantes, the run D is concerning for our Super Bowl chances. What do you guys think of the run D?
Not good.
Wasn't good.
Horrendous.
It wasn't good. Wasn't good. But I mean, how much of that was just Jones is really good? Because he had some cutbacks that were ridiculous.
Well, a lot of it was Baller, what he said about the edges. I mean, the Niners just got I can't remember the last time the 49ers got dominated on the edge and just inability to set the edge over and over and over and over and over. I mean, that was not like the team that we know that was out there tonight as far as the run defense. They got annihilated.
And what's scary is Detroit has two backs to pound.
Yeah, they can run it for sure.
Too.
And they're physical. And like that was the one big, just real quick takeaway for me is if they end up playing Detroit, that matchup is more difficult based on what Green Bay was able to do tonight in my mind. Like that, I know I've kind of poo-pooed Detroit. I think they're going to win tomorrow. I'll be the first one to admit that I've kind of poo-pooed them, but I think could make the case that they've had things kind of break their way now to where they play a decent game tomorrow. They're coming out here and suddenly they have the potential to have the ability to hurt the Niners. Like their strengths can be the Niners' weaknesses, especially if the Niners aren't going to stick to the run and can't throw at the level they need to. Because the one thing the Lions are shitty defensively, but they do stop the run. So if they can stop the run against the Niners and Purdy's all over the place like he was tonight, and Hutchinson's maybe wreaking havoc over McKivitz, and then that game can get a little weird. And they'll stick to the run. They'll have a good offensive game plan.
Well, their offensive line is stout.
Yep.
Oh, I mean, three Pro Bowlers, a couple All Pros, right?
They can look at a lot of the things Green Bay did tonight, I think, with their personnel and try to implement it.
The best unit on the field tonight was the Packers' offensive line.
Until Zach Tom went down, and it seemed like when he came out, the Niners had a little bit more success rushing Love in the fourth quarter. Titus Moore
sent some pressure too. They did timely pressure from Wilkes when he was up against it.
No, that's a good point. Titus Muller's model for the 49er D-line rush. We almost got there. Oh, God, sounds terrible. Titus Muller, what's your favorite Brock Purdy play of the game-winning drive? I like the run. Man. He was like disregard for his body. It's like he was out there like, hey, man, I want this. And I always like to see a quarterback that's willing to take a hit for the win, and he was. I also love the throw to Ayuk.
That was probably the best play.
I love that
Ayuk on the drive. I mean, that was an amazing catch.
The one to Conley too was good. Danny, too.
The throw to Conley.
Yeah, the throw to Conley was great, but the I guess I'm thinking the catch Ayuk that was just like off the turf almost. I mean, that was
the Ayuk catch. Ayuk saved
the
the game in some ways.
Yeah, because it wasn't that third down.
Yeah, that was third and long. They would have had to go for it. James JJ throws that in. Thank you, James JJ. Jason Ryback says, Larry, where is Big Dom eating and watching Tampa tomorrow? He cursed the Eagles for life. Big Dom. Let's leave Big Dom alone. He's probably in the back room at some deli playing cards in South Philly. James Foster says, Logan over Brown. How are we feeling on that? I was a little shocked by that, but I interviewed Logan on Thursday, and he kind of indicated that we may see some three safety looks. But I mean, I don't know. I like Jair Brown's ability against the run. So I don't know about that. How did you guys feel about that? Going with the veteran over the kid?
Hated it. I hated it. I was surprised by it. I think I don't know. It was almost as if the Niners played it too cautious, almost as if, hey, if we don't make any mistakes, then we'll win the game, rather than just going out and looking to play the guy that had maybe the highest risk, highest reward, which I think is Jair Brown. So I don't know how truly healthy he was, but I would have played Jair Brown. I'd play Jair Brown next week. I mean, get him out there. I think has the potential to be the most impactful player at the position.
Shefty just tweeted, or one sec, Shefty tweeted 8 seconds ago that Debo is apparently okay, whatever okay means.
Nice. Nice.
Told
One thing I
members of the
didn't like-
organization he was okay, is what Schefter says.
That means he's going to go. They need him. Come on, guys. They need Debo if they're going to get this thing done.
They do.
One thing I didn't like about how we use the safeties was, did you guys notice how many times Tayshaun Gibson was lined up on a slot receiver?
Yes.
Like, that's a mismatch. And I know there was a PI that got hit on Gibson one time, but he was constantly lining up one-on-one with a receiver. And Gibson's too old for that. That was making me nervous.
And sliding maybe more than anybody. It felt like he had salami on the bottom of his cleats. He's just sliding everywhere.
I know. I agree with that too, Damon. I thought his footwork out there, he looked very much like he was having a heart. Didn't he go down on the touchdown?
Yes.
Didn't he fall down on the touchdown?
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, that was what when I saw the rain coming down, I thought, oh, you know what? That's the equalizer, because you don't know who's going to be able to keep their feet and who's going to go to the ground. And it creates a level of randomness to this whole thing that, this was anybody's game. I mean, the Niners were so freaking lucky tonight to escape the way they did.
Dude, you had Mooney Ward fallen down on a huge gain for the Packers tonight.
Yes,
yes. I mean, I don't know who the equipment manager is, but he had a bad night. Everyone on the Niners pretty much had a bad night tonight. I didn't see the Packers, who are used to elements, slipping all over the field tonight. I didn't.
No.
It's the Niners. They don't. Levi's is built on an Indian burial ground. That place sucks.
If you really think about this game, it's amazing the Niners won. The Packers were so much sharper. They were so much sharper. They looked better. Their run game looked better. Everything that they did looked better. Love looked better than Purdy. Jones looked better than CMC. Their receivers looked better than ours. Their line looked better than ours. Their D-line seemed like it was more impactful than ours. I mean, they looked better. The one area where the Niners were better, clearly better, Warner and Greenlaw. Warner and Greenlaw were really good, and the Packers, Quay Walker got hurt. Devondre Campbell's old. Somebody make heads or tails of this one. James JJ, can 8 women in room 7 are attractive? What?
That's
I'm
the
not,
Amy Trask. That's a reference to Amy Trask.
I'm not aggressive with lab.
I don't know what
Anybody?
aggressive it
Oh, so
means.
it's like 8 women are in a room, 7 of them are attractive.
Oh, I got you.
Comma. Use a comma.
I got you.
Yeah, and I don't know what about the second part. That part.
Yeah, I don't know the second part.
Yeah. It reminds me of when we used to drink Lucky Lager and you had those caps. You have to sit there and, hey, what does this cap say? Robbie439, how is Debo okay? Why did he leave then? Kind of soft. Well, come on, soft. Come soft.
That's a crazy accusation.
You're gonna call
His injury
you
prone.
saw with these guys have been banging heads since
soft,
July.
man. Probably never played a down of football or
Robbie, you're sitting
touched
there
a
in your freaking
basketball or-
Snuggie and
Come
you're
on.
calling Debo soft.
Come on.
I was a little surprised he didn't. I was kind of not like he's
But thanks for
absolutely
the
not
super,
soft,
by the
but
way.
I was kind of expecting him to come back in the game. Debo has a little bit of he's got like a dusting of the Anthony Davis thing where like he does seem to get like terribly injured a lot and then he'll just come right back in.
Alfonso McIntosh drops this one. Looking at bigger picture, Baltimore had the same time off as us. Do you guys think we're ready for them? Guys in purple.
Let's take care of
Just
this
get
next
there
week.
first.
Yeah,
Let's
we
take
didn't look.
care of next week.
Right.
Yeah, I mean-
Baltimore is not assured to be in the Super Bowl any more than the Niners are.
Exactly.
Another
Yeah,
game.
Baltimore's got a tougher road, I think.
Hey, when you
Absolutely.
talk about the Packers, outplaying them, it really, if you think about it, it came down to just a few key plays. You think about the 4th and 1 where they didn't put any points on the board, the Packers, the Niners stopped them. The interception, the first one of Love, where he threw it behind the guy and it tipped and Greenlaw picked it off. They got 3 points there. And then, so those 2 plays, that's a turnaround of 6 points right there.
Yeah, I mean,
Look, the entire game. We all watch the end, and you think the things that happened at the end are more important than things that happened earlier in the game. This game was won, but for one thing: 3 early red zone trips and only 6 points
Yeah.
for the Packers. If the Packers put a stranglehold on this game with multiple touchdowns early, the Niners are donezo. Done.
Yeah, it's
So-
maybe not Dallas, but it's close to that. Honestly, I mean, it really would have felt that way in terms of the domination.
A lot of Windows talk.
And
Tony
Love's throw,
Nagatani says, "Who is the Niners DC next year? Wilkes needs to go." Really, Wilkes needs to go? You think Wilkes is going to get a job?
no.
I don't think he's going to get. I think he's going to be a token interview,
Yep, I think
a popular token interview who doesn't get hired.
Correct. I think that you talk about the rain and being the equalizer. That interception, the first one from Love, was totally the rain. The ball slipped obviously out of his hand because he threw it terrible. It was just a short little throw, and it was off target, and that was, a huge part tonight. When you saw that rain, I was feeling the same thing. I thought
It felt like the heavens had opened and it started dumping, and it was like, oh wow.
right after the Niners scored, didn't it open up more?
Yep.
It worked out great.
Yes, it did. It was like the 12th man. It was just coming down. It reminded me of the game 7 of
Scudero.
the NLCS when the Giants were pounding the Cardinals.
Scudero looking up in the rain. Yeah.
Coming back from 3-1, and it was just pouring down rain.
I got a question for you guys. How would you grade out the fans tonight? I look at some of these other venues, and it just seems like the place is going nuts. Now, granted, truth be told, I'm sitting in the 8th floor of the press box. The press box glass is like, the glass probably between at prisons, it's like 6 inches thick of, glass. I mean, you can't hear anything through that glass. So maybe the place was going crazy, but I thought Green Bay kind of took the crowd out of it in the first half, and it seemed very, very quiet. And obviously they went crazy at the end, but
I think the stadium got tight.
Yeah.
I didn't think the fans were bad, but the Niners didn't give the fans an awful lot to root for, and the place got tight.
Niner fans were immediately worried. I mean, immediately. The way the Packers went down, and even though the Niners held them to a field goal, the way that they went down immediately, I mean, the Niners were getting gashed in the running game. They were committing penalties. Charvarius Ward had the big PBU in the end zone, but immediately going down, I think there were enough Niner fans that were already a little worried about what they had done to Dallas. And they thought, oh shit, like right away. And then the Niners come out and they get the ball and they punt immediately. And Brock nearly throws a pick, and Deebo Samuel's injured. And so I think immediately Niner fans were like, oh shit. And the game they ended up winning, but there was never really truly a point in the game where it felt like the fans believed the Niners were going to win the game until Drake Greenlaw picked up that second interception.
And
It seemed like it was
what
dead
adds
silent
to
at the
with the
end.
ball. The Niners were only in control of the game when they hit victory formation.
Yeah.
The only time they were in control of that game.
seriously.
Yeah, they went up 14-13. That was the other time. Kittle broke off the big one. McCaffrey took it to the house, and then immediately the long kickoff return. So the Niners are up 14-13. You're thinking, all right, maybe they get a stop here. They go score again. They go up 8 or something like that. But immediately, long kickoff return. The Packers answered in a blink. They get the 2-point conversion. And then, the Niners had to punt after that. So even then, that was really when it was like, oh, these guys might be they were a play away. The Niners were a play away from being done. It felt like all night long.
Were you thinking about that 21 game where the Niners kind of won that freak game with the block punt, like the reverse of fortunes? Did you feel like it was the higher seed?
The other one I was thinking about all night was Aaron Rodgers. Brett Favre dominated the Niners, right? Brett Favre won 4 out of 5 games. Rodgers, the Niners dominate Rodgers. I kept thinking all week, and independent of anything, maybe Jordan Love's going to own the Niners in a way that Aaron Rodgers didn't, but Brett Favre did. Just the change of, for whatever it was, the Niners had something on Rodgers. He could be the MVP of the league. He could be a guy that looked borderline washed. Didn't matter. Rodgers, for the most part, even when he played well, he didn't play exceptionally well against the Niners, and they would win every time in those big games against, every time the Niners were good, they would beat Rodgers. And every time they sucked, he would beat them. And there was something that I kept thinking about all week, shit, what if Jordan Love does have a little something on him? Like, what if he's just a bad matchup for him, and the cosmic universe changes a little bit? And I was thinking about that, Dan, a little bit during the game.
I'm old Greg says, I speak for all Niners fans. Debo needed to suck it up. It's win or go home. I don't know about that. We're talking about injuries here. Dundada, Love was not good. Missed 7 open receivers. And it says rain. I thought he was pretty good at times. By Victor 1, can we place anyone at Ambry Thomas's position? That's the thing. You run out of corners. You're running out of corners. They made a Womack ineligible or inactive. You could put him up next week if you want. Titus Muller, could the Niners win the next 2 games without Debo? I would probably say no, but you never know. By Victor 1 says, I was screaming when the Niners were on defense and telling everyone to stand up. I lost my voice from yelling so much. Good job by Victor. Bobby L says Kyle is now 1-30 after being behind in the 4th. Bang, bang. And James JJ said if they had a Greenlaw on their defense, we would have lost. They didn't capitalize. 2 interceptions. Okay, guys, let's go with this. We're an hour and 50 minutes into this, and we're going to end it. But let's go around the room with player of the game. It was our New York style Italian sausage player of the game, but we're switching it now to our Marin Autoglass player of the game. MarinAutoglass.com, 415-883-3030. When you need a new windshield and you're sitting there going, man, my windshield's cracked, it's broken, MarinAutoglass.com, or give them a call, 415-883-3030. All right, let's go around the room. Kev, we'll start with you, and then we'll go to JD, and we'll go that way. Counterclockwise, who is your player of the game?
If I'm going first, I got the easy one. I'm going Dre Greenlaw. That was the whole game there. The 2 interceptions was the difference between the Niners and the Packers today. Them getting the ball and the Packers not having the ball was really all it was. And Dre Greenlaw also, besides just the picks, just set a tone out there hitting guys. And great game for him. And I'll go chalk on this one.
Go ahead, Damon. JD, you're next. Who do you like? Who's your player of the game?
I think it has to be Greenlaw, but I'll go a different direction just to throw another name out there. I thought McCaffrey, when he actually got his hand on the rock tonight, had a nice game. Couple of touchdowns, the 39-yarder, 17 carries for 98. So he still averaged 5.8 a tote in this one. And, he caught 7 passes as well. Now, the passes were relatively short gains, and he had to really fight for yards. But, I feel like tonight should almost be a unanimous Dre Greenlaw. But I'll give a nod to Christian McCaffrey, who, again, when the Niners could get him the ball, I think was highly effective.
I think there are only 2 other possible options because McCaffrey and Greenlaw are 1B. The Greenlaw definitely, it's his party. McCaffrey, after that, he had the 2 touchdowns. Diamador Lenore was out there setting the tone early on in this game, and I thought that Diamador Lenore was the player in the secondary that had the best game, and it was a rough night for the secondary. Juwan Jennings gets my other vote, but Diamador Lenore to make a conversation that is clearly won by Dre Greenlaw easily.
That's a good call. Diamador Lenore, guys. He was really good. He really was good. I can't say enough good things about that kid. He's just
back-to-back plays where he just absolutely mauled Love right before the out of bounds, and then
he loves to hit.
Fat hit.
He loves to hit, and you know what I can't stand is the people seem like they were calling on the Packers sideline for a penalty. He pushed him. Now we inbounds.
Yeah.
You can't two-hand shiver in a football. What I see more contact at my 14-year-old's flag football game than that.
That shouldn't have been offsetting penalties, in my opinion, either, because there was several Packers that were instigating, pushing several of the, coming at Lenore and others. Yeah. And then, somebody headbutted somebody, and they didn't even, I think he got the flag, but he did it twice.
Trent Williams got called, and the guy flopped.
Oh, that
I felt like Vlade Divac busted into this game.
Jeez.
Also,
That was for you, JD. That was for you. I busted that one out for you, JD.
Flopper Hall of Fame.
Baller, who's your Marin Autoglass player of the game?
I'm going all in on Juwan Jennings. Niners do not win
Took
that
my guy.
game without Juwan's effort.
Good pick.
4 out of his 5 catches went for first downs. He's just so tenacious. He blocked a dude about 5 or 10 yards out of bounds. Just shoved him into the Gatorade. Juwan Jennings, he was awesome.
Danny, what do you got?
Oh,
By the way, DeFreshman throws in a super for a buck, and Brad Brown says Warner was garbage. We'll pass that on to him. And Crazy Boo Boo Chicken says it was super funny seeing Aziz on the sideline. Oh, I didn't see that. Was Al-Shaair? He's a free agent, you know.
Ooh.
He's a free agent. I love Aziz. He's the man.
Well,
go ahead, Danny.
On a night when not too many played well and 4 of them have already been picked, I don't have much to choose from. So
go with Tyler Rogers.
Igor Pepper.
I think I'll
go with Alyssa Natkin.
There we go. I think I'm going to go with just because he's been under a lot of pressure and he came through with a big 52-yard field goal. His extra points were even the last one that was key to make it a 3-point game. I was like, come on, you got to make this. I'm going to go with Jake Moody. Despite the block kick that was a little low with the weather, the distance, he had to, wasn't carrying the ball tonight. It was dead. You kind of noticed even his 52-yarder barely went over the crossbar. So I like what Jake did tonight. Coming back after week 18, everybody was down on him. Jake Moody.
Rye, what do you got?
All right, I'm going to go with George Kittle. He did have that drop, but it just every time he got the ball in his hands, like obviously he had the great touchdown, but every time he got the ball in his hands, it felt like I was looking for this team. It's like, this is a veteran freaking team. They've been through the battles. They've been to conference championship games, Super Bowls. And I was just waiting for like someone to really step up. And it seemed like every time Kittle got the ball in his hands, he was making huge plays and they came at a huge time. I also wanted to say, I know Greenlaw was already taken, but just another reflection that we haven't talked about. How about when he stood up Jordan Love on that QB sneak? That was massive, where they came away with no points.
Yep.
The absolute game on the line. That was absolutely sweet. So yeah, I'll go George Kittle, and I just had to highlight that play because
since you guys have taken you've taken all the good ones, but I'm gonna do as I dig deep to get to the bottom to stay on top. That's a Les Nessman for you WKRP fans. Okay, so I'm going with one that's a little off the beaten path. But you know what? There's so many jobs in football that are thankless. And one of the jobs in football that is really thankless is the guy who is your deep speed. Why? Because that guy's got to run off the coverage. And if you don't first of all, he's got to run more than anybody because he's running deep routes. And he never gets the ball. He's got to clear out the coverage and he's got to sell it. So he's got to run not just the most routes and the deepest routes and the most yardage, but and you're never getting the ball. And then you also have to run it with conviction or it's not believable. And then, Chris Conley is my guy. This guy, had to run the deep route. Danny Gray, was soft or whatever you want to say, hurt, whatever you want to say about Danny Gray, couldn't get on the field. And Chris Conley is their deep speed now. And he is a burner. He's a veteran. He's been around. And you know what, man, and Kittle talked about it in the postgame. He's like, man, he runs those deep routes with conviction and makes people honor them. And he creates space underneath. It's a very selfless role. And then think about it. You never get the ball. It's the biggest freaking game of the year. Your team's season's on the line. And here comes the ball coming at you for a 17-yard gain. And he plucked it out of the sky and made the catch. He was targeted one time tonight. He caught that ball for 17 yards. And it's a thankless position. It's a thankless duty. And man, I'll say this too. This is a hard sport if you don't get reps. And to not get any reps at all And then all of a sudden, here comes in a big situation. Here's the ball's coming your way, and you sure as F better freaking catch it. And he did. So I'm just gonna, Chris Conley, if you're watching the Krueg show, a little shout out for you, brother. I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate that.
And
Good
shout
pick,
out
good pick.
him for holding it down for a dying breed, the wide receiver wearing a number in the 80s.
Yeah,
You just don't see it anymore.
Old school. I like that. Before I promote all your guys' channels and tell you about tomorrow's wake up show, I'm Old Greg says, F Brad Brown. Warner is the guy. Who's Brad Brown? Was somebody in the chat said that? Oh,
Bad Leroy Brown or what?
No, because I think Brad Brown in the chat probably ripped Warner. DeFreshness 2006 as Purdy was 0-3 in the regular season without Debo. That's interesting. I'm Old Greg drops this one in. Also love you, Brad Brown. We won. Okay, so and go for broke. Go for broke. We're not going to be able to get out of here. Goat for broke. He says, to think that the last time the 49ers lost a divisional playoff game was the 2002 season. Yeah, it's been a while. 49ers last playoff home loss. Do you guys remember that?
I do.
It's a Kyle Williams game.
Yes, it was.
Kyle Williams game. It was Alex Smith 0 for 13, I believe, or 1 for 14 or something like that on third down conversions. New York Giants NFC Championship game at the Stick.
12 years ago Monday.
2012. Yep.
Oh, by the way, my buddy Chris Townsend sent me a note today that I thought was really interesting. I wanted to share with you guys. Do you know that today or yesterday was the anniversary of the 84 Super Bowl? So that, think about how football's changed. We're not even at the division round yesterday, and the Super Bowl was played in 1984 on that date. It shows how the season has grown, and it's now moved from mid-January to mid-February.
Yeah.
By the end.
And Monday is the anniversary of the Joe Montana to John Taylor Super Bowl.
Crazy.
On the 22nd.
Right.
Dude, they're going to add more game. The Super Bowl and the Final Four are going to be on the same weekend one year. You watch.
Seriously. NBA Finals at the trade and baseball trade deadline. All right. All these guys are fantastic. Damon and I will be appearing tomorrow. We're not going at 8 a.m. We're going at 9 a.m. Because, and God, could you imagine how brutal that turnaround would have been if they had lost? Oh, my God. But anyway, 9 a.m. tomorrow on both of our channels. Wake up. And we'll talk Niners and we'll rehash this game. And hopefully all of you guys can join us there.
And I'll duck out after this so everyone can get their goodbyes. But at 8 a.m. on Monday, we'll be back at it to start previewing what the NFC title game will be. And we will know it by 8 a.m. on Monday. But 9 a.m. wake up Sunday.
9 a.m. Sunday, 8 a.m. Monday. And everybody join Damon's channel. There's 2,500 people in the room right now. Damon, tell people the name of your channel if they don't already know. I'm sure many of them already do. But promote your channel and tell people where they can find it. And how and what you produce on it.
You can find me on YouTube.
There you go. Damon Bruce Plus, basically.
Yeah, Damon Bruce Plus is where you can find it all. And thank you so much. It's been an incredible year. It isn't over. The Packers were better in the Niners tonight. The Niners are lucky to be moving on, and a little luck this time of the year ain't a bad thing at all. It's good to win in the postseason, no matter how it happens. So we'll talk to everyone at 9 a.m. Great to see you guys all the way around. Cheers. Have a great night.
Bruce.
See you, Damon.
Great, Damon Bruce. JD, you're going to be appearing on The Sports Leader. When do you next appear?
Yeah, actually, no, not tomorrow, because tomorrow's Sunday. It's going to be Monday. This
You get a day off? What the heck?
This felt like a Sunday. I
no
do.
days off.
I do have a day off. I'm going to enjoy some football tomorrow, man. Like on the
Nice. You deserve it.
couch with a couple of brews, and yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a couple of really good games, especially the late game, the AFC game, the Chiefs and the Bills. But no, I'm going to be on KMBR on Monday with Papa and Lund at some point to be probably around 1:00 with them. And then our Dubs OT coverage for those that are looking for some Warriors coverage when the Warriors do resume on Wednesday. Likely they'll be back in action against the Hawks. You can check me out on the KMBR YouTube page there. immediately following every Warriors game is when we go live, both on the radio and on YouTube and Twitch and all of that. But I'm going to be down at practice all week now that there still are practices to be had. So look for me there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll see you then.
You're the man, brother. Heard you earlier today doing the pregame with Marcus. You guys were sounding great.
Yeah, and look for that next week also. Time to be determined, but that's a 3:40 kick, so at some point next Sunday as well.
Sounds good. We're going to walk out together, JD. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Appreciate you. Thanks, everybody.
All right, there you go. Great, John Dickinson. He's a great follow on Twitter. Baller, Bay Area Baller 18. Great channel. Baller has been with us all season long with me and Kev and Danny and Rye. Baller, tell people about your channel and what you got cooking next.
That's right. Hey, Bay Area Baller 18 is where you can find me. I love all you guys to subscribe. We're almost to 2,000 subscribers, so come on over. Hey, this game, it wasn't pretty, but you know what? Games like this build callus, right? Pressure makes diamonds. They needed a game like this. This team is even more battle-tested. I've been saying all year, I feel like this is the year this Niners team is going to win a Super Bowl. And to get there, you probably had to win a game like this. So love to see it. I'm glad, the season is still alive, and I still get to talk to you fellas next week. I'll be live Monday night with 3 of my buddies, the Straight Out of the Bay crew, 8 p.m. We'll be there. Hopefully you guys can join us.
Bay Area Baller 18 puts out great content. Baller, have a great night, brother.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Baller.
You. Danny, the great Dan Cochimilio will put his channel up top there. It's NorCal Sports Network, so you can see it. Danny talks a lot of baseball and talks a lot of Niners and Warriors and all Bay Area sports. Danny, when do you go next? And tell people what they can look for this week on your channel.
Yeah, we'll go Monday night again, 8:30 Pacific time, and we'll be,
you guys talking a lot of Hummel?
Oh yeah, Cooper Hummel. Yeah, love that pick. Love that pickup, Cooper Hummel. Yeah,
I've been trying to take down Farhan the last couple of days. I hope you can appreciate my work.
Yeah, I do appreciate the support. Yeah, I know that. No, I'm not. I'm good. I'll pass on Dan's channel. Yeah, Cad V20. He's a Farhan homer. He's been ripping me all night in your chat because he's one of the Farhanians who loves the Giants finishing in 4th place.
Well, it's probably not a fan of Farhan. It's probably Farhan's burner.
Might be Farhan's burner. Yeah, he hasn't said one good thing tonight about football. I don't think he knows a lot about sports. He's just, doesn't know the game, but whatever. He's in here.
We love you, Danny. What do you got? When are you going live next?
Monday night, 8:30. Yeah.
Danny, have a great night, man.
Yeah, we'll have you on one day next week when the Giants pick up Johnny Smith or something from the Blue Jays AAA club.
I just booked Devin Sweet to come on my show.
Okay.
But I realized that he's now been DFA'd. So I have to probably cancel that
Darn.
one. It's amazing. Okay. Devin Sweet, we barely knew you. We barely knew you.
Yeah.
You came and you went. And then look at that. And then Danny was gone. Right. Whoa. Now we're full screen mode.
This is a little too.
Yeah. Whoa. There we go. Hey, Kev's playing games. Right. Tell people about West Coast Bias. I know you're a good follow on Twitter, West Coast Smitty on Twitter or on X, if you want to call it that. Rye, when do you go live next? How's the channel coming?
We're going to be talking mostly pro Farhan stuff over on West Coast Bias. So, I'm glad to gain a follower if that's what you're interested in. No, I'll be going live after Bills Chiefs, just talking a little bit about the playoff picture, the Final Four. And then I think I'm going to go live after the next Warriors game, whenever the hell that is, and just talk a little bit about, we got to start easing into the Warriors. And it's not looking good.
Are the Warriors going to make a trade?
Are the Warriors going to make the playoffs?
Oh, God, no.
Oh, God. Yeah, I might become a Sacramento Kings guy. I don't know. I'm undecided, but yeah, I'll have some content coming out. Been slacking a bit, but yeah, I'd appreciate a follow. Should be fun, just goofing around and talking sports.
Hey, man, we always love you in here. We love your perspective, and great to talk to you again, and have a great 2024. We'll talk to you next Sunday, maybe?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, love you guys.
The great Rye. Appreciate you. And RG Teamster, Shannon Sharp already discrediting Purdy, shaking my head. Oh, my God. Kev, this was quite the chat tonight. This was quite the post-game live stream, probably the biggest one we've ever had.
Yeah, everyone right now is saying that I'm texting someone. I'm trying to put out the shorts from all the presser questions.
Kev's always hustling.
I've been grinding those for the last hour, so I'm not.
We had
texting.
90 super chats. 90.
Oh,
it's a lot of chats, man.
Yeah,
It's a
man.
lot of chats.
Long night. But dude, good win. Good win. It's a ugly game, but a good win, right? Come on. That's probably the best way you could say it. The only thing I will say is that this entire week, the narrative is going to be, how much did the ugly win matter? Did the ugly win show that they're not capable of winning against a good team? All I'll say is that if you came into this week saying that the Niners were going to beat the Packers 50-0, but then now you're going to say, hey, don't talk bad about Purdy in this game because he didn't have a bad game. They won the game. It's like, dude, did you think they're going to win by 50, or did you think the Packers were a legit contender? And I think that's the thing that you got to debate. Did the Niners play bad against a bad team, or do they play okay against a good team? And I think it's more of they played okay today against a good team.
All right, kid. Love you. Have a great night. And we got a lot going on. Tomorrow we're going to watch some football, but we'll do some videos. We'll do some videos after each game and kind of the latest on Debo, the latest in Ninerland, recaps on both playoff games. We'll be putting out a lot of videos in the next 24 hours and looking ahead to next Sunday. But great stuff this week, and really, Kev is the engine that makes this channel go. So, Kev, we appreciate you, man.
Of course.
All right, man. Why don't we do this? I won't even say goodbye to you. I'll just say goodbye to everybody. Thanks to everybody for jumping in. Really appreciate every single person who jumped in. As I said, 90 super chats. I think the most people we've ever had. Well, I don't know if it's the most people we've ever had, but we had close to 3,000 people in the room tonight. And I just want to say thanks to all you guys. I mean, we're loving the channel. Hope you guys are loving the content. We're loving producing it for you. Crazy Boo Boo Chicken says 91st Bang Bang. Love this team. I'm not sure what that even means, but what the heck? Tom Pierce says great show tonight. Kevin O'Kennedy says catch y'all later. Hey, thanks to everybody. We appreciate every single one of you guys. Thanks for supporting the Krueg show. And we're going to have a lot of content on the Niners in the next 10 days or week or so, talking a lot of football. So anyway, we appreciate every one of you guys. For Kev, I'm Larry. Have a great night. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for.